Page 14, Minuet in G major. Right at the beginning in the right hand, you're in an extended G chord position. Right, see the first four notes? That's all we are. And then for the A, use the thumb again. And then the second measure, I like the 1, 2 on the 2. Because you got another G in the next measure. And the first measure of the second line, I like the fingering. 5, 4, 3. And for the next measure, I would do a 2, 1, 2. Third measure, it's a 1, 5. Just use the fingering they're suggested for the most part. I think it's great. At the bottom of page 14 and the next to the last measure, you're down here. Now, I have a little problem with this fingering because your next note, the first note in the last measure, you want your fourth finger on the G. That's a jump. Ugh. So I would suggest you, rather than the 2 E's doing a 1, 2, I suggest you switch it around and do a 2, 1. So it's here. And then you can do a 5 if you can reach it. I can reach it, but it's not as far to jump if you do a 5 on the first G and then a 3. So it's the last two measures would be there. On page 15, second line, last measure, they have a 4 or a 5, it's up to you, which you do, and then a 1, 2, and then a 5, 1, 2, 5. I recommend a 2, 1 again, so to me it just works better. And then a 5, 2, 1, because it just works better going into the next measure each time. So I would switch those around. In the third line, last measure, you're here. Then I would do a 1, 2, 1. So you got a 1 for the next G. Next to the last measure, get the triplets. Now, I don't understand their fingering exactly. I guess you can do it that way. They're doing a 3, 4, 5 on the triplets, then a 1, then a 2 on the F. They're staying here. If you want, you can do a 3 on the F sharp and a 4 on the G. That's fine, doesn't matter. Just remember, if you're repeating, does it fit the next note when you repeat? That's what you gotta look for. I'll talk about that a little more in a little bit. I want to talk about the left hand. At the beginning there on page 14, you're starting out fine. Basically, you're in that C major chord extended. You're here. Ready if you're just here. The whole first line is these notes. So just use the fingers for those notes. So it's here. Fourth note, or fourth finger, second measure, you see that? I like that. That's very good. Second line, starting out with a 3. Second measure, it's a 4. Next measure, it's a 5. Don't forget the F sharps. So just follow their fingering and you'll be fine. It's working out quite well. It's a little awkward in a few places, but that's the way it is sometimes. So like the last 3 measures on page 14, you have here, then here. Again, Bach didn't put in articulation, so you can add the articulation as best you can. And I recommend when the bass notes are jumping around, you separate them. Now, when they're 8th notes like that, you can connect. Now, at the top of page 15, first measure, they're showing a 5, 3 here, and then the last one is a 4. Well, I got a problem with that because this chord is an extended B major chord and the fourth finger belongs there as far as I'm concerned. So I would recommend you try it. I know it's a stretch, but try and do the fourth finger there on the D sharp if you can. They're showing the fourth fourth finger on the second D sharp, but I suggest fourth finger on the first one also. Roadmap wise, you see the repeat signs at the bottom of page 14. There's a repeat sign that'll send you back up to the beginning, and there's a reverse repeat sign which you'll come back to when you get to the end at the bottom of page 15. And you repeat, so you go back to the reverse repeat sign. Basically, we're playing the whole thing twice. It's just in sections. The melody for the most part is in the right hand, but the left hand gets to answer. It's like a counter melody. It's like at the beginning. So experiment with it. You want to bring out the right hand for the most part, but there's places where the left hand can be brought out a little bit. Over on page 15, second line, you're here. This is the right hand. It says con moto, which means with motion. It's basically, think of a waltz. It's 3/4 time. It's not a fast. I'm sure you can find recordings of this all over. We're going to go really, really slow because of the eighth notes. I want you to have time to hear them. So I'll give us 3 counts. Let's play it together. 1, ready, and go, and. Repeat